Hello,
Pretty low.
Most Daddy. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, man? I saw your text, but I'm driving, man. I didn't want to try to text you back, so I thought I'd just call.
Oh, it's all good. You gonna be riding for a second?
Yeah, I'll be riding for a second. I'm on my way up to Chapel Hill, man, to take little Moose up there for a college visit.
All
So,
right. Well, shoot. I've been in the industries for 23 years, so we recording, baby.
are we rolling
We
already?
rolling, man. We on the Spartan Dawg Podcast, man.
Okay.
Yeah, we
I
got.
didn't know if we were live yet, but yeah, man, I'm heading up that way right now. So,
All right. So for those that don't know, got my call from my homie Muhsin Muhammad, right?
that's right. That's right.
All right, so
That's
I don't
right.
know if Moose, I don't know if you had a chance to. I think I done knocked out about six of them. I posted like four or five of them. I just did Sean Hart, and I just got off the phone with Eddie Brown. Me and D Mace kind of got mixed up yesterday because he's on Central Time, so we're gonna get him next week. But have you had a chance to listen to any of them or not?
Yeah, I listened to Myron Bell's Boo Bell.
Okay.
And I haven't obviously you just recorded the most recent ones with Sean and who was that? Who else you said you
I
had?
did. I did. Well, I just did posted Mills yesterday. I did Jay Green and Ike's. That's the ones that are up there. And then I'm going to post the other ones probably like in a little bit. But I just wanted,
Okay,
that's cool, long as I kind of wanted to make sure. So if you heard one, then you kind of got an idea of the format. I kind of, like I was saying on the other ones, is the whole idea is, for me, I just think that it's, we got a unique bond, and I always think that it's cool that we stay connected. And,
that's right.
for the most part, I get an opportunity to talk to everybody. Me and you hadn't talked for a minute, but, it's like it always is. We pick right back up like it ain't, like
That's
we saw
right.
each other yesterday. So I kind of like to run them kind of like a regular conversations if I was just calling you. So for the most part, I'll
Oh
just
yeah,
ask a bunch of questions and we'll shoot shit and go from there. So, Moose,
yeah.
where you at now, man? Where you living at these days?
Well, yeah, I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. I was drafted here back in 1996 and played 9 years. And then with Carolina, and then went to Chicago for three. But I maintained my residence here for the most part. And then when I came back in 2008 to Carolina, just played 2 more years and made Charlotte my home. So I'm right here, man, right in Queen City,
So
Charlotte,
well,
North
hold on real
Carolina.
quick. You went Carolina, Chicago, and went back to Carolina.
Yeah, yeah, man.
I thought you retired after Chicago, so you went back to Carolina. I didn't.
I
I
went.
forgot that part.
Yeah, you missed that one, man. I went back to Carolina and in '08 and '09, and those were the years. In '08, we had Jonathan Stewart, we had D'Angelo Williams, 2,000-yard rushers. I came back in a year, that was year 13 for me. I had 1,000-yard receiving. Steve Smith had 1,000-yard receiving. We had probably one of the most prolific offenses back in 2013. 2008, and then in 2009 played that. That was my last season, right
Okay.
before NFL lockout. Yep.
Okay. So then, real
Yeah.
quick too. So, people that do know you have to know your wife. I think so. Or if they don't, can you talk about your that would be your? A lot of people got college sweethearts, but is that y'all was together since high school or
High
no?
school, boss. Yeah, high school, man.
She went to Waverly.
She went to Waverly High School,
Okay.
man. And the fire has been burning strong, and with all this time that has passed, it's actually burning even stronger. So we become closer and closer. We share the same interests, have the same passion to travel, passion for kids. And so we've just kind of grown up with each other, man. I watch her hair turn gray. She's watching mine turn gray, man. It's a beautiful thing.
So you and it's Krista, right? You and Krista.
Yeah,
How long? How many anniversaries y'all counting now, man?
21, man. We just celebrated our 21st wedding anniversary, but we've been together for 27 years.
Jesus, gosh, boy, yeah, that's good, man. That's a blessing. So then, you guys. I think my math is right, right? You guys got six kids. You guys had four, and then you guys adopted two more, right? Is that
That's right. That's
okay?
right.
So
Yeah.
can you go in order from your your kids from the eldest to the youngest?
Yeah.
Kind of like their
Absolutely.
names
So
and what they into?
oh yeah, names. Well, yeah, absolutely. So the oldest is Jordan. She was born in '96 and biological. She's a rising junior playing basketball at Princeton. And so then I have Chase.
Now hold on real quick about Princeton. So your daughter can ball, right?
Yeah,
And
she's a baller.
she had options to go to other schools, and I was asking you when we talked. I was like, so your daughter on a scholarship to Princeton, and you told me what?
They don't give scholarships to Ivy League, man. you have to qualify academically to get into an Ivy League school. It's a completely different format. You know what I mean? It's like, they'll give you scholarship money if you need it, so it's all need based.
Right.
But if you don't qualify from an academic standpoint, you can't even be taken into consideration for Ivy League schools. So it's just an honor to even get an offer from an Ivy League because it says a lot about, how smart you are or, how ambitious you are on the academic side.
And so she's able to do the work. She's keeping up with the basketball and performing academically. She's doing well.
I mean, I tell you, I don't know where she got it from, Kurt, but the academic thing really comes natural to her. And she just gets it. And she's been excelling academically. I mean, she speaks fluent Spanish. She's learning how to write code and technology. She studies architecture, so she's an Excel kind of genius and just drawing and she does a little bit of everything. She's just doing a really good job. And then basketball wise, she is she's out there getting some real good minutes. She's a good shooter, good point guard. Absolutely.
She got some height on her or not?
She's about 5'7".
Okay.
She's about 5'7".
She got some big hands like you? No.
She got some big hands and feet. She got daddy's hands and feet.
Okay. All right. So then next down the line?
And then next down the line is Chase. And she played as a freshman. She played basketball. And decided that she wanted to go the academic route, man. So she walked away from playing basketball. She transferred from the first school she was at, where she got a scholarship, to another school where she got an academic scholarship.
She had a basketball scholarship?
She had a basketball scholarship. Okay. That's right. Okay. And she decided that she wanted to pursue her love, which is cooking. And so she transferred to Johnson & Wales, one of the finer, culinary institutes, and she got an academic scholarship for that. So it was good. And she's following her passion, her love for cooking right now. So Chase is a rising sophomore in college. Jordan is a rising junior.
Now, where's the school, the culinary school? Is it in Carolina or no?
Yeah, it's right here in Charlotte. So she actually, she's got a little job and she's going to school. So she's right here in Charlotte, starting her professional career after athletics early.
Okay. Well, hey, she might be the genius. She see her daddy buying all them restaurants, so she's like, let me learn how.
Let me follow his suit. Right. Are we getting ready to do something? I mean, she loves to cook. You never know. One day she may be, some kind of executive chef, and we might create something together. Right. You never know.
Right. Okay.
You don't know where life goes. So we'll see. We'll see how. And then next in line, Kurt, is Journey. She's one of my daughters that we adopted from Ethiopia. Journey is a rising senior in high school, and she loves basketball. She's probably going to be playing somewhere. She's in the middle of a recruiting season and all that, and so she's a senior in high school. And then after that is a biological son, my oldest boy, Moose Jr., or you call him Moose the Third, because I'm Moose Jr.
Okay.
And he is a rising sophomore. He's at Myers Park High School in Charlotte, North Carolina. And, he loves basketball, loves football, and he's got some college interest and all that stuff. So, we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, now I met him. He got a personality because, before you even told me his son, he was, over there just with a personality. And I was like, who is that nigga? And he was like, that's Muhsin's son. I'm like, oh shit. He got a, I mean, you know, the thing about it is interesting. Like on our other thing for the studio, we just had a guest on there, dude. He's been in the industry for like 25 years. And he made this comment where he says that, you know, his gift has been recognizing stars and feeling them when they walk in the room. So just thinking back, your son has a presence when he's in a room. And so, I mean, I didn't know he was your son. I didn't know, you know, until you tapped me on the shoulder. So I'm just observing the room, and it seems like people are attracted to him, and he got this personality. And, you know, I hadn't seen him play, but Myron commented on his thing that he may be more athletic than his daddy. So it's interesting that, and I don't know that about him, and I may be off, but literally when all y'all had about 40 kids in a room, and my attention went to him. So it's something about him that stands out and make people gravitate to him, and that's cool.
Appreciate that, bro. Yeah, keep an eye on him, man. He, you know, he does have a personality. He is, I think, has some natural leadership skills, man. And kids are attracted to him. And we got, you know, we got that house where everybody's at, man. I always had like 3 or 4 of his football teammates, you know, lounged out on the couch. I come home and, you know, it's the spot, you know. We got the music bumping at night, and you know, you might have some bones or some spades going, and
you the cool daddy, huh?
Hey, some things don't change, you know. We got to keep the, you know, he's always had the bones going and spades and stuff like this. So anyway, it's been fun to watch him sort of come into his own and everything, you know.
Okay.
But so then my other boy is Mad Dog. He's my adopted son, and he's a rising freshman. Now, you know, Mad Dog is he's into the track. He's a track phenom, man. I mean, he's held the national champion title for a couple of years in both the 3K and the 1500 in his age division. So
damn.
He's he can fly, cut the wind, man, with a butter knife, you know. And then the baby, my daughter Kennedy, is a 8th grader. She's an 8th grader, and you know, she's probably, you know, as athletic and all this other kind of stuff. But you know, we'll see what happens, man. I don't know if she's found her niche, man. She loves the tumbling stuff. She can do all the backflips and all that fun stuff, and but we'll see where you know, she kind of lands and figures out what she wants to do with herself. So that's all 6, man. The oldest is 21 and the youngest is 13. So that's
so. What's Krista up to these days? Or what? She mommy life in it, or she got any passions or hobbies that she's doing, or?
Well, the family, man. You know, I told her this is back, Kurt, when we were in college. I told her one day I was gonna marry her, and she never have to work a day in her life. That was the first lie I told to her, right?
That's how you got her, man.
Because it's a full-time job what she does, man. You know, managing the house. You know, of course, it's a team effort, man. But she's in charge, man, and she does a heck of a job of keeping that house straight and keeping the kids straight. And you know, I couldn't ask for a better mate, mother, you know, the whole deal, man. But, you know, she's a brilliant, you know, brilliant girl, and also a heck of a detective. So you can't, don't try to hide nothing, because she does go find out. But, you know, I don't know, you know, I think she still is figuring out from a you know, sort of entrepreneurial and ambition standpoint, some things that she wants to do, you know, when the kids get a little older and independent. So, and so there may be some stuff to come in that we do as a couple. You know, she's done a phenomenal job raising kids. You never know. A book may be in the work.
Right.
You know, there may be, you know, she's been a expert on the adoption field, man, and maybe some consulting coming down the line. So you never know, man, what we do post we get the empty nest going.
Right. So on there, Moose, with the kids, I mean, it's interesting, you know, you guys got 4 and they're excelling and they're doing well in school. And, you know, then you have 2 that you guys adopted and they're excelling in the sports and in school. So it kind of speaks to the type of atmosphere that you guys are providing for these kids. Why was it important for you guys to adopt, 2 kids and then specifically seek them out from, I guess, Ethiopia?
Well, we did a lot of research. We did a lot of research on different places where you can adopt. We researched international versus domestic, and for a variety of reasons, we decided on international. We looked at quite a few countries, and when we researched Ethiopia, we found that they have a sense of community in that country that is unmatched. They have a sense of togetherness. They have they take care of the kids. Ethiopia, as I continue to dig, we learned that it's one of the only places in the world where Christians and Muslims live in peace.
Okay.
And we became intrigued by the history of King Solomon, Queen Sheba, and all their descendants from King Menelik all the way down to Haile Selassie. And the whole evolution of that country just really inspired us. And so we took a trip there, continued to learn more, and we got comfortable with that country, and we decided that that's where we wanted our kids to be from,
So when y'all took the trip, were y'all just going to the country, or were y'all like, okay, maybe we want to get a kid from here, so y'all was going to check it out, or how did?
Yeah,
okay.
we first took a trip there, and we're like, okay, let's check it out. We're interested in this country, but we wanted to take a family vacation. So we took a trip to Africa, and we took our whole family. At the time, my kids were a lot younger, but they could appreciate it. We went to Ethiopia, to Addis Ababa. We went to Tanzania, Arusha Park and the Gorgor Crater. We went on safaris. We did the whole deal. And so it was it was a multi-level sort of, from a priority standpoint, what we wanted to get done. And then also, we went and visited orphanages, because we wanted to see what the orphanages were like over there and how they took care of the kids. And, we took a lot of supplies, but, our kids learned a lot about, being appreciative of what we have. And, we wound up giving a lot of things away when we're over there. I mean, we literally went over there with 2 huge hockey bags full of, clothes and supplies and all kind of stuff. And all of our kids, we visited, a couple orphanages. We gave everything away. We even gave away the stuff that we came with for ourselves, and we by the time we got on the plane to go back to the U.S., I mean, we had carry on, we couldn't even check back. We left bags over there, the whole deal. So anyway, it was a culturally enlightening experience. And that confirmed to us that we wanted to adopt children from that country. And, we started down that process, and, by the end of the year, we were bringing home our babies,
That's cool. Now, like I said, a lot of people are, asking about the wife and the kids is sufficient. But if anybody was at Michigan State, everybody know your cool ass daddy. What's up with Pops, man? What he doing and where's he at?
What's up with Pops? Man, yeah, so Pops, he's writing the D, man. He's in Detroit.
He ought to be the logo for Detroit, man. He got that personality.
My dad is all Detroit, man. My dad is FOI, Fruit of Islam. Power to the people, man. And he's I love him to death. I mean, what he stood for, and him and his crew of guys that went through that whole civil rights movement, man, and stood up for the advancement of our folks, man. You can't say enough about what they meant in our history books, man. They will forever be there. But that's Pops, man. That's who he is. And he's still doing it. He's volunteer police officer in Detroit, man. So he's doing community cleanup, just the things that you would envision him being. Right. He's still doing that same kind of stuff, Kurt. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's cool. And then, so Moose, for you now, as far as work per se, you part of, he was telling me, is it Axum? Is that the name of the group that you guys in?
That's right. Axum Capital Partners, which, that name stems from Ethiopia. And a lot of the history and culture that I learned about, man, I wound up naming the firm after the capital city in Ethiopia. At the time, there was this this regiment, and they established this city called Axum, which was monumental. It was a place where great minds were brought together to do monumental things, and they instituted the first transportation system. They instituted the first communication system, banking system, a lot of different firsts. And that Axum was in rule for centuries in Africa, and so that's what I founded and named the company after, and that's what the company means. The company Axum is a place where great minds come together. So I've got three other partners in that firm that we started, and been working with them for now 7 years, since 2010.
And can you explain what you guys do, what the group does?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're a private equity group, and so and I'll explain. Private equity is basically we've got about 25 to 30 investors. And my three partners and myself, we're in charge. We're the general partners, and we're in charge of evaluating opportunities to put that money to work. We typically look at controlled investments, meaning we'll be the majority owner of companies that we invest in, and we look specifically at the food and beverage space. And so we have built out this whole criteria by which we select companies that we want to invest in, and then we execute the transactions and become the owners of the companies. And then we put a strategy together to either grow the company. It could be a turnaround, it could be a whole growth stage, it could be a number of different strategies that we put together. We monitor those companies from a board perspective, hiring the CEO, hiring the management team. And then once we grow those companies and we get to a size that we like, then we monetize that asset, meaning we either recapitalize it financially, or, we recapitalize it, or we could sell it or take it public. So that's, in a nutshell, the short and skinny on what we do.
And so two of the things that you guys been, I guess, successful doing that people may have heard about, can you talk about, you guys recently just did one because you sent me the press clipping, but you guys also did one with the wing. What is it, the Wing Factory, or what is it?
Yeah, it's a Wild Wing Cafe. In 2012, we acquired a company called Wild Wing Cafe, and Wild Wing Cafe at the time had 31 locations in 7 states, and now we're up to 45 locations in 8 states. And growing. We have about 40 new locations that we're going to open up here in our pipeline as far as signed franchise agreements. Of the 45 restaurants, 15 of those are company owned and operated. Mm-hmm. So we actually have management teams that own and that oversee the operations of those restaurants. And then the other 30 are franchise, and they just pay us a royalty to use our name and our brand and likeliness. So the other company that we bought, Kurt, most recently, is a company called Backyard Burger, and they have 55 locations in 11 states, and 25 of the 55 are company owned and operated.
Okay, hey man, Rick Ross blew up. Wingstop, you need me to get one of these rappers to talk about that.
I know, right? And it's, hey, well, hopefully they hear this podcast and give me a call, man. They can come on board. Let's do something together.
All right. So that's the. I mean, that, like when I talked to you, I was asking you, I heard you on announcing games at one point when you weren't playing, and I was impressed. I mean, we wasn't talking or nothing, but I was like, shit, Muhsin sound like a pro. And then when I saw you out here for the 7-on-7 thing, I had asked you, are you doing any more broadcasting and stuff? And you kind of said you chasing these balls around. So what was that like? Did you enjoy that? And how often did you do that? And what made you kind of stop doing that?
Yeah, I love football, man. I love everything about the game. It afforded me the opportunity to be where I am today with my new company and my new venture. afforded my, changed the scope of my family, the direction of my family. And so I'll always have an affinity and always be a fan, uh, of football. And I grew up loving this game. Kurt, you can only be really good at this game if you love, love, love this game. And so I've studied every aspect of this game. I'm still, somewhat of a, student of the game, but I consider myself somewhat of a professor. I've done it long enough. So I talk about it. I mean, I studied broadcasting and journalism. I've done TV. I've done radio. I still do radio just on Mondays for the Panthers, and it's actually a local radio station where I talk about the Carolina Panthers, and I break down and sort of analyze, Sunday's game and talk about up and coming opponents. We spin it around the league and talk about what's going on in both in the conference and just overall NFL. And, when I first retired, I was really heavy into that, and throughout my career, I was really heavy into the whole journalism and broadcasting thing. And then I decided that it wasn't going to be a career that I wanted forever. So, I'd say maybe a year after I retired, I decided to really just focus on the investments.
All right. So when I talked to Ike on the little podcast, we was joking. I mean, I had talked to him in the car when I was there for Sean's mom funeral. So I knew where he was going to go with that story. But Ike played defense, right? And at the end of the career, he said he knew he was done when he didn't want to hit nobody, when he was just, jumping on, missing tackles on purpose and trying to chase people down from the back. But you played offense, and you played what? You said what'd you do? 14 years or 13?
14 years.
So for you, how did you kind of figure out you was done? I mean, or when did it pop in your head, and what was the deciding factor that you was like, I'm ready to kind of let it go?
Man, that's a good question. In 09, we were I was a NFL PA rep. And we were facing the lockout. I don't know if you remember, we were going through this whole collective bargaining agreement deal with the NFL. And I could tell during the negotiations where things were going. I mean, it was not a veteran-friendly CBA. And what I mean by that is they were putting policies in place that would eventually make veterans less desirable, because they could get a young guy. They didn't have to pay this huge price. And, it just put veterans at a disadvantage. And so I saw that coming. I still had something in the tank. And even in 2010, I had a couple of contract offers on the table. But, Kurt, when I came back to Carolina in 08 and I had signed that 2-year deal, I really started thinking about what I wanted to do after football. And it was still fun. Football was still fun. I still loved the game. I still all that kind of stuff. But I knew that eventually this thing was going to come to an end. I had 14 years in the league, and you play that long, you start looking over your shoulder, like, man, they're going to start, doing, thinking about the business side of it. And so I started meeting with people locally and started thinking about this whole, entrepreneurial venture that I wanted to do, and eventually own and be able to operate companies and grow them and do all this other stuff. So it wasn't a question of what I wanted to do next, because I knew I wanted to get into business. It was a matter of timing. And I think at that time, even though my body wanted to go back and play, I thought about the best decision for my family. And I said to myself, this is more sustainable. It has more of a long-term advantage over football, because football was going to be year to year, and I could, if I was lucky, maybe get 2 or 3 more years.
Right.
And so I decided to start my career. It was one of the hardest decisions that I had to make, because I still wanted to play. I still wanted to play, and I still had contracts on the table, but it was a business thing that I just could not turn down, because it made too much sense to me to start doing this.
Right. So then on you, Moose, so you did all those years in Carolina, and then you left and came back. So that kind of says that you must have had a good relationship with the owner of the Panthers. So, I mean, can you speak to your relationship and the importance of having that type of relationship where you can kind of come back home and and still be involved with the community, and the team wants you back. Like they feel like, man, I let this dude go, and we could have went and got somebody younger, but we actually want him to come back. And they know who you are, and they know what they're missing. So can you talk about your relationship with him and how that was coming back home?
Yeah, I mean, it was a blessing to be able to walk back in the door. Anytime you leave an organization, it could be good terms, bad terms. You think about the most recent revelations. You're not here locally, but Mr. Richardson, the owner, just fired the general manager here, David Gettleman. I mean, they just fired him like abruptly. It was a bombshell, news alert and all this kind of stuff. And all these stories start coming out about the players that he let go. Number one was like John Beeson. And everybody knows what John Beeson meant to the Carolina Panthers before he went to the Giants. And when Gettleman let Beeson go, no one questioned the decision to let him go, because who they got for John Beeson was Luke Kuechly, who was, a phenomenal player. But when you let a guy like that go, do you let him walk out the front door with dignity and pride, or are you telling me he has to go out the back door? And that's what he did to John Beeson was, you need to go out the back door. I don't want, don't talk to nobody. Don't, give me your playbook, and, treat him like he was, like never taking consideration of what he meant to this, to the organization.
Right.
And I think there were a number of guys from starting with John Beeson, then Jordan Gross, who was a, right tackle, first round pick for us, played his whole career here. Steve Smith, and then he went to Baltimore, and Steve just, probably was one of the only guys that just aired his disappointment, So you think about all these guys and how he was treated, and I thought about myself, like, man, I was able to come back here, and it was because of the relationship and how Mr. Richardson, put principles first. And so we've always had, I wore the same number that Mr. Richardson wore when he was, NFL player, and he wore 87. And we've always had this, sort of relationship. And it's a good thing, man. He's getting older. I don't know how much time we're going to have with Big Cat, but I still lean on him for advice. I still lean on him for connections and, being able to introduce me to certain people, and it's a great relationship, man, that I cherish, man. I cherish even though the business side took me to another team, being able to come back, man, I cherish that about, that bond that we were able to create while I was here.
All right, and then so now, Moose, now we gotta go back to you. How you end up at Michigan State, man? What was either your last two choices or your top three, man? And then for people that don't know, I mean, I don't think you didn't play receiver in high school, right? When you played linebacker or something, man?
That's right, man.
So you didn't play receiver till you got to college, right?
Till I got to college.
Okay.
And Kurt, I couldn't catch a cold in college, man, to start off. I mean, I had to learn from scratch.
You can catch a 40, though. No.
Big Bear, huh? 3 for 5. So, yeah, man. But I was a running back and a linebacker in high school. And, I was getting recruited pretty hard by Miami because, they like fast, small, undersized linebackers, like Mike Barrows and, Jesse Armstead, those kind of guys. And, even the John Beesons of the world. So I don't know. My dad gave me the best advice that I've ever had, man. And that was, son, you need to think about playing receiver because you got the body type and frame to be a receiver at the next level. And I'm like, receiver? I never played receiver. And he said, you should try it. And so, as I was taking my official visits, that would be one of the questions I asked, like, hey, what if I changed positions and I didn't want to play running back or linebacker? Would you let me do that? And George Perlis was the only guy that told me, you come here, you can do whatever you want to do. I said, that's what I want to hear.
So you can wear number one too, huh?
Yeah, you can wear number one. You can wear number one. You can do whatever you want to do. And I said, okay, I'm coming.
So what was there a second choice? Did you take all your trips or what?
Yeah, I mean, I took 4 of my 5 trips.
Okay.
And by the time I finished that 4th one, I was just kind of pooped out with with everything, the whole recruiting process, it was like overwhelming, and just a lot going on. So I was ready to make a choice. And Kurt, I don't know if you knew this, man, but my pops went to Michigan State and played there too. He
Oh
was a
no,
walk on.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, my pops was a walk on back in the day and played with Bubba Smith and all those guys, Bob Apisa, and the old 66, 67 Spartans that back in the day, man, that competed for that national championship tie with Notre Dame. He
Okay.
was a part of that whole crew.
Okay.
So that was a little bit of an influence, but not total. I mean, he didn't try to force me to to play anywhere. So, but I made that choice on my own, man, and it was a process of trying to convert from this defensive-minded guy who was, outstanding linebacker and running back and stuff like that to playing wide receiver. It was a process, man, and it really didn't click. And I, till later on in my college career, and I wound up only starting that 1 year, my senior year, when Nick Saban came in.
Right. So on there, can you talk about your well, I'm gonna let you if you want to tell it, but I ain't gonna tell it. So
no mysteries.
Hey, you
I'm comfortable.
Okay, well then shoot, and in all these episodes, I got a funny story, and your funny story, bruh, came before you even signed. Do you remember your recruiting trip?
Man, look.
Do you remember your recruiting trip?
Man, I remember we went to. Yeah, I do.
Okay, so do you remember we went to the party at the apartment and what happened? You want to tell that story, Mo?
Man, we had a few extra beverages and I mistook somebody's closet for the restroom. That we talking about?
Yes, sir.
I blame that on y'all, Kurt, because y'all put me in that. I was inebriated, Kurt.
We almost had we knew he was a Spartan Dawg. We had to fight from him for the first day. Muhsin drank so many 40s. He was faded.
Yeah.
Everybody looking for Muhsin. Muhsin done walked into the person's closet and peed on their clothes. Thought he was in the bathroom, man. So yeah, that's my Muhsin story. You came in legendary, man.
About to start some fights already, huh? And then from there on, it was Spartan Dawg all the way.
Yeah. Now, Moose, can you talk about real quick? I mean, you came in under Perlis, and who was your position coach? Baggett and Skip Pete, or who coached? Yep. Okay, so can you talk about
I had Baggett? Uh-huh. Yep, I had Baggett, and then we had Morris Watts, was the offensive coordinator, and then we had Skip Pete, and then once Morris Watts when Nick Saban was there as a head coach. And so Baggett as a position coach, man, obviously he went on to coach Randy Moss at Minnesota. He went on to coach, in Tennessee. He went on to coach at the Houston Oilers and some of the older guys when they had, that outstanding receiving core down there with the Houston Oilers. But he brought a lot of that expertise into our classroom, man. And, between that and all the whining he used to do back in the day, come on, Moose, catch the ball. Come on, man. We basically got where we needed to. Come on, run the right way. How deep is that route, dude? But now Baggett was cool in this, and Skip Pete. I still think Dick stole his DVD collection, man. He had some old Richard Pryor and all that kind of stuff, man. We used to all borrow his DVDs, and then some of the stuff came up missing. I'm still, D Mace, man. It wasn't me, Coach Pete, if you hear this, But those are my two guys, man, that I had. It was probably the two coolest wide receiver coaches when I was in college.
All right, so I asked Mill this question the other day, and I was surprised by the answer. I asked Mill, had he ever been cussed out? Muhsin, have you ever been cussed out by GP or anybody at Michigan State?
Oh, how many times a day? How many times a day had I been cussed out by my coaches? It wasn't a matter of, Yes. It was how many times a day?
So can you talk about, I guess, the transition from GP to Saban, and kind of like I always tell people, it's weird. It's like, GP couldn't coach now because I mean GP was, I mean he just said whatever he wanted to, man. You know what I mean? People will be thinking it's insensitive and stuff like that. But can you talk about those two coaches and the transition for your senior year? How that was for you?
Yeah. For me, it was a transition because, when I was younger, man, I got in the doghouse with Morris Watts. And I mean, he had it pretty much made up in his mind that I was just going to be a special teams kind of guy and maybe a third receiver or whatever. And so I never started for Coach Watts. And, my freshman year, I had tore my ACL. So I had to come back from an injury. And during that off time, man, the idle mind is the devil's play shop, man. And I just, I got caught up in a lot of local craziness because it was my hometown. And, I was in the doghouse with Coach Watts. And so the change of regimen gave me an opportunity for a new start, and when Coach Tranquil came in, Nick Saban came in, I remember sitting in Nick's office and he was like, should I let you back on the team? And, we had that kind of conversation and, why aren't you, doing this, or why aren't you a starter, or why aren't you this? I see all this athletic ability. And I just said, Coach, I ain't here to make any excuses. I just want a chance. And from there, we were able to, move forward. And I think the rest is history. I had an outstanding senior year. I put up some really good numbers. Going to the bowl games, I broke a record at the Independence Bowl. I had like almost 200 yards receiving in that game. And then, it was off to the draft. I had a great combine. I had a great pro day, and then was able to get on somebody's draft board. It was just, the rest was history. But I think that transition, I love GP because GP gave me my shot. That was my man. GP MF you all day. And he had all these sayings like, Moose, you know who drives? You know who drives? The dummy. The dummy drives. He'd call you a big dummy in 2 seconds, you know what I mean? And so, we always had our GP sayings, man. And he'd walk around with them gloves around his shoulders. And he was waiting for somebody to just, fight or look at somebody wrong. And you put the gloves on and have to fight with somebody. And then, you know what I'm saying? And then go back to practice. And that was GP, man. He wanted you to fight. He promoted it, right?
Right.
So he loved them kind of guys. And Saban was a little different, but he was, he brought that, GP brought that dog out. Saban brought that mentality of, do the job. Make sure you're doing your job. Don't worry about no one else's job. You make sure you're doing your job. And that was his philosophy, kind of that, from that Belichick tree. So I got a little bit from both, man. And the transition actually played in my favor. It didn't play in everybody's favor, but it played in mine. All
right. And then last, Moose, so I always ask everybody, just kind of talk about what that term Spartan Dawg kind of means to you.
So what does Spartan Dawg mean to me? Brotherhood, it means family. When you say Spartan Dawg, you already know that just the name dog says it in itself, that you got this mentality of dominance, this mentality of excellence, superiority, taking pride in what you do. But at the root of all that is this sense of community and brotherhood and fellowship, that we built as a bond when we bled with our brothers and worked together and played together and, did all those things. That's what it meant to me to be a Spartan Dawg.
All right, cool. And then Moose, where are you at are you on social media, or people trying to follow you or see what you got going on? Where can they follow you at?
On Twitter it's at Muhsin Muhammad 87. And on Instagram,
you spelling the correct spelling, like MUHS or MOOS?
MOOSE.
Okay.
Muhsin Muhammad 87.
Okay.
On Twitter, And I'm not the biggest Twitter guy. I'm not that great at Twitter, but I try to use it from time to time to put out information about either things I have going on or, kids and just good stuff. So I'm on that. And then my Instagram is Muhsin_Muhammad. It's just Muhsin_Muhammad. And that's my Instagram. So those that, and then, obviously, Facebook is just my name. Not on Facebook as much, but my wife is like the Facebook queen.
Right.
So I'll probably spend a little bit more time on Instagram and maybe a little bit on Twitter.
Okay. All right, cool. You making it back to any games this year? Are they on the plan or?
Oh yeah, I'm trying to get back for homecoming this year. So hopefully I can get back. You going up for homecoming?
Yeah, I usually, man, for the last 5 years, I've been renting out a room at a Kellogg, and I do a Spartan Dawg dinner. And so we've always had no less than 35 people. They bring the wives and the kids, and I rent out a room. So literally after the game, the dinner starts like 35, 40 minutes after. So everybody just leave their car where they are. We walk over to the Kellogg, and we do dinner, break bread, play a little music, got a bar, and catch up. Usually had a game on the TV. So if you there, yeah, every, like for the last 5 years, we've been throwing the dinner over at the Kellogg. So if you're there, we'll definitely talk before then. But if you in town and wifey's there, y'all just come on over.
Sure. Well, put me on the mailing list, man. You got my email, my phone number, all that. Let me know when it is, and I can throw it up on the calendar.
Okay. All right, Moose.
That's what's up.
All right. Appreciate it.
All right, KK, man. I'll holler at you, my man.
All
okay.
Right.
So.